The night was tense. November 5th, 1912, was a pivotal day in American history. But what if, instead of the ultimate political defeat, Theodore Roosevelt emerged victorious? Imagine a different ending to that fateful election night, as the returns came in across the nation. The numbers were tight, too tight for comfort, but a sudden surge of late ballots from the Midwestern states started to turn the tide in Roosevelt's favor. The Progressive Party candidate, backed by strong support from reform-minded voters, overcame the challenge of running as a third-party candidate. As the final returns from California came in, Roosevelt's supporters erupted in cheers. He had won. The nation rejected President Taft and turned away from Woodrow Wilson's Democrats, making Roosevelt the 26th President of the United States for a second time. Like and subscribe for more. Also, don't forget to hit that notification bell for more history documentaries. Please watch the video till the end, as good interaction would help the performance of the video and the growth of my channel massively. The decisive factors behind Roosevelt's victory. Several factors aligned for Theodore Roosevelt to win the presidency again in 1912. His popularity as a former president gave him an edge, but his split with the Republican Party created a complex dynamic. The Progressive Party tapped into the frustration of voters dissatisfied with both Republicans and Democrats. 1. The Republicans split. Roosevelt's third-party bid split the Republican vote in reality, enabling Wilson's win. In this alternate scenario, Roosevelt's message resonated so strongly that many former Republicans and some conservative Democrats joined the Progressive Party, ensuring his success in the Electoral College. 2. Rural and urban appeal. Roosevelt's appeal to both urban progressives and rural reformers helped him secure crucial swing states. His focus on trust-busting, labor rights, and economic reform built a broad coalition, particularly in battleground states like New York, Pennsylvania, and Ohio. 3. Taft struggles. Taft's presidency suffered from infighting within the Republican Party, alienating both progressives and conservatives. His failure to meet expectations led to his loss of support, ensuring Roosevelt's victory in this alternate timeline. The reaction of the American people and William Howard Taft. The reaction from the American people would have been one of shock and exhilaration. Roosevelt, the hero of the Spanish-American War and a symbol of American vitality and progressive reform, had reclaimed the mantle of leadership. For many Americans, his return was seen as a revival of the idealistic and reform-oriented spirit of the early 20th century. His victory signified a shift in the American political landscape, as the Progressive Party surged onto the national stage. For Taft, this was a bitter defeat. As Roosevelt's former vice president, Taft felt betrayed by the very man who had propelled him into office. Taft had hoped that his policies would continue Roosevelt's progressive legacy, but instead, Roosevelt's return to the political scene created a division in the Republican Party that left him vulnerable. Taft's loss would have stung deeply, and he would likely retreat from the political spotlight for the remainder of his career. A second term for Theodore Roosevelt. Cabinet, agenda, and actions. Had Roosevelt won a second non-consecutive term in 1912, his presidency would have been marked by bold and sweeping reforms. He had always been a man of action, and his progressive agenda would have been front and center. 1. Trust-busting and economic reform. Roosevelt would have continued his aggressive approach to breaking up monopolies and advocating for greater government regulation of business. His administration would have likely expanded the regulatory powers of the federal government, increasing oversight of industries like railroads, banking, and telecommunications. 2. Labor and social welfare. Roosevelt was a champion of the working class, and his second term would have seen even more labor reforms. He would likely have pushed for stronger labor laws, advocating for an 8-hour workday and better working conditions. His support for social welfare programs may have included early forms of what would later become Social Security. 3. Environmental preservation. Roosevelt was a passionate conservationist, and his second term would have likely seen an expansion of national parks and wildlife reserves. He would have continued his efforts to preserve America's natural beauty for future generations. Would the Progressive Party become a major political force? In this alternate history, the Progressive Party would have solidified its place as a major political force in America. With Roosevelt at the helm, the party would have attracted more prominent politicians, possibly even former Democrats and Republicans who were disillusioned with their respective parties. 1. The end of the two-party system. While it's unlikely that the two-party system would have completely ended, the Progressive Party could have emerged as a viable third option. Over time, it might have grown into a serious contender, especially if Roosevelt's policies succeeded in galvanizing the American electorate. 2. Potential candidates for future elections. The 1916 election would likely see a major candidate emerge from the Progressive Party, possibly Hiram Johnson, Roosevelt's running mate in this alternate scenario. Robert M. La Follette, another prominent progressive, might also have taken up the mantle. These figures would have continued Roosevelt's legacy of reform, possibly running for the presidency in the years following Roosevelt's second term. Roosevelt and World War I. One of the most significant questions in this alternate timeline is how Roosevelt would have handled the outbreak of World War I in 1914. While Roosevelt was known for his aggressive foreign policy and love for military strength, he was also deeply concerned about American interests. It's possible that Roosevelt would have initially sought to maintain American neutrality, much like Woodrow Wilson did. However, Roosevelt was also a strong believer in military preparedness, and he may have pushed for a stronger military presence in the world. If Roosevelt had entered the war, it would have been on his terms. His leadership style would have brought a more dynamic and assertive American role to the conflict, possibly pushing for early intervention on the side of the Allies. The Progressive Party in 1916 and beyond. By 1916, the Progressive Party would have been a formidable political force, with Roosevelt's influence lingering in the background. If Roosevelt had not run for a third term, Hiram Johnson or La Follette would have been strong candidates for the presidency. In this alternate history, it's possible that a progressive candidate could have won in 1916, further cementing the party's place in American politics. The legacy of Theodore Roosevelt. Roosevelt's legacy would have been far-reaching in this alternate timeline. His second presidency would have likely accelerated the progressive movement, resulting in more substantial reforms in labor, economics, and foreign policy. Roosevelt's legacy as a champion of the people, an advocate for reform, and a bold leader on the world stage would have been solidified. Conclusion: A changed America. Had Theodore Roosevelt won the presidency again in 1912, the course of American history would have been forever altered. His leadership would have reshaped the nation's political landscape, ushering in a more dynamic and reform-oriented era. The Progressive Party, under his influence, could have become a major force in American politics, potentially even challenging the dominance of the Republican and Democratic parties. What do you think? Write your opinion and version of the story in the comments below. Please be polite and kind. If you want to know what would have happened if George Wallace had won the 1968 election, click on the video on the left. Thanks for watching.